Thank you very much for that nice introduction. So it was quite clear from Megan's and Jason's talk that we're on this vision to carbon neutrality by 2050. And in my view, we're not going to get there without very good granular data, so we do that in the most economic way possible. That's why we've developed a calculator that I'll talk through today. And explain what we want to do in the next, that time is not working. There we go, I've got a few extra minutes. Do some activities over the next 12 months. And we're doing this project as part of the Circular Wine group in Marlborough. And just to sort of touch on that, the Circular Wine group is a collective of sustainability heads around the wineries here, and that group has got a mandate or an objective to promote circularity where it's applicable, possible, and doable, as well as reduce the environmental impact of producing wine. So this is done with my colleague Jim White and Alistair Thompson primarily. So Megan has quite clearly pointed out or set forward this sort of vision of neutrality by 2050 and some of the objectives within the roadmap to achieve that outcome. And not to go through that again, but essentially improving energy efficiency, moving away from diesel and decarbonising electricity. As well as then we move into the next parts of the value chain around our suppliers. But essentially, some of the assumptions in that roadmap, one in particular is around the diesel usage. And the roadmap is assuming that in the next 15 years, we're reducing our diesel usage by 50%. So, again, slide's been done there, but essentially, in a typical vineyard, we are essentially sequestering more carbon than we are emitting. If we consider the vine, if we consider the soil, and all things said, the amount of carbon that's in that system is more than what we are emitting through the fuel and the various activities that we do in that vineyard. But unfortunately, the vine and the soil are not in our frameworks for accounting for carbon. And the reason for that is that those stocks, not storage, those stocks are highly labile and they move around between season, even within years, and they're very hard to account for. So and there are systems that do that, but essentially one of the big limitations of those voluntary systems is that they are very expensive to keep on verifying. So essentially what I'm pointing out here is that the biggest lever we've got is obviously this diesel component of that footprint. So the specific aims of our project were to better collect detailed data around the carbon spend that is contributing to that 56%. And why are we doing that? Because we want to be able to enable people, give the people the knowledge to be able to prioritise spend on what they are spending, the reductions on, creating strategies for that reduction, but as well as prioritising their capital spend on different equipment. So we had Gordon Max, who worked with Circular Wine Group, did go out in January to collect some of this data from growers around, at a very particular activity level, tractor equipment level, what was the carbon usage. So essentially, what's the carbon usage of running a 1-row sprayer or a 3-row sprayer, or running a frost fan for an hour versus mowing once. What was the activity level carbon spend for that? But essentially, it's very hard to get that information. Some people have got computers that will tell them fuel usage and that sort of thing, but to break that down into an activity level is very hard. And what we essentially want to do is to build a database that other growers can use around the carbon spend for that one tractor pass, or running a frost fan for an hour. So knowing better that usage will give us bigger, the best opportunities to identify what we should prioritise to reduce that carbon emission. There's another really important part to all of this, and that's if we've got the dream of reducing that carbon footprint down, and the main mechanism that we probably have for that is electrification, is the current infrastructure able to supply that amount of energy to us? For instance, if there was a widespread shift to electrification across Marlborough, we would need a 250% increase in the amount of electricity that we have, which is not realistic. So one of the key parts of this is to work with our colleagues at Marlborough Lines to understand what that shift to electrification means in terms of the supply and demand processes. We are developing a database. That's our key thing, to better inform the activity level data. But essentially, that ultimately leads into the strategies, the reporting, and the prioritisation that we would do. So that's, it's not about developing a database. It's essentially enabling that next step to take place. So at the moment, our problem is data. It will soon become a problem of the systems that we have to report that carbon. So that's where we're sitting at the moment. So over the next 12 months, we'll model out, we'll collect the data, but we'll also model out with Marlborough Lines, assume 30% change in electrification in this area versus that area, or assume there's 15, I'm just making this up now, right? 15% more frost days in Blind River compared to the Waihopai, or whatever it is, to start understanding some of those dynamics around the supply. So to that end, we've built an app, and we're very keen to put that into your hands for the next 12 months to start collecting some of that data. I don't think an app is where we're heading in the future, but again, just a reminder, we are building a database. So this app probably lasts for 12 months, and then we do something else to enable that process to keep going. But essentially, the app is up and ready now, so we're keen to find 100 growers, and we've got funding for the next 12 months to continue that. So it's simply a matter of selecting a tractor activity. I'm going to manage my canopy. I'm going to use my Fendt 211 standard, and so then essentially we'll have a database at the back of this that will have a Fendt 209 and a Kubota, I don't know the numbers of these things, but a Kubota one and a Massey Ferguson and all the rest of them, to understand the efficiency of these tractors, but also the efficiency of the tractor when it is doing trimming a canopy. And so we're asking users to record the area covered, the row spacing, the row passes, the average speed, and the fuel use. Now that seems probably quite an arduous task, right? But we are hoping that people will be able to do an activity, fill from the Bowser, and to record the fuel used. That's an interim measure, right? We're trying to build this database to remove the need to do that step. But we're stuck with that for the next 12 months. Then we can provide, we can do frost and ATVs and utes and things as well. But we can provide the data summaries for those activities. And I think where we'll probably move forward in the future is to look at, the carbon spend on irrigation, plant protection and fertilisers as well. But what we're keen to do is to provide this type of information to growers where they can understand where the spend is and understand, some of the implications of the activity so they can devise the strategies from that. So I've tracked that much carbon and I've done it across those activities on those dates. So essentially that's the dashboard that we're hoping to provide back to growers over the 12 months and sort of facilitate that process towards a better system. So we're really keen to register up 100 growers to help us with this task and provide that detail back to them, but also to test the use of some of the data with the lines company to start understanding whether we can actually achieve our great goal. And actually, I should I should talk to my manager first. I'll put a bottle of wine on this if somebody can come up with a better name. It's called the carbon calculator at the moment. It's super dry, right? But that's. I think it is important. So there we go, and that's me. Thanks.